Hello ladies and metal Jen, and welcome to the T110E4 Is It Worth the Grind video. So as always, you can skip to whatever part you want, but we start with the grind. As always, we start at tier 5, the T49. What used to be a T49 now is a T67. There's nothing really much to say about this tank other than it's really good. You should always keep your distance to your enemies, keep hull down, keep them spotted, kill them and win the game. It's really as easy as it gets. Kind of suffers in the city maps for obvious reasons, but it's a really good TD. There's nothing really to say here. And the stock grind is not much to talk about because it's a tier 5. The modules cost nothing anyway. So let's move on to the Hellcat, which also got changed in the last patch. Got nerfed quite significantly actually. The rate of fire got nerfed, the accuracy and the move got nerfed, the traverse got nerfed. Basically got nerfed. It's still a capable TD. It's not ridiculously overpowered anymore, but it's still really good. So you probably will keep this if you ever want to do team battles or anything like that. So getting all the modules is probably the best bet, and grinding radios on these tanks is not the worst thing ever because these tanks are really good for what they are, and it's better to grind the radios at one point anyways, so this is not a bad place to do it. That being said, let's move on to the tier 7, the T25-2. Quite an underrated TD. As far as I'm aware, it's decent enough for me at least to enjoy playing it when I did. What you have to do, you kind of have to pretend that it's a medium tank with limited hit point pool and an extremely good gun, which is basically what it is. A tier 7, a gun like this on a medium tank would be unheard of. So try to make use of this gun in a medium tank fashion. It's a bit slow and sluggish for a medium tank, so don't try anything too stupid, but just basic flanking. Try to keep hull down because the gun mantle on this actually can take some hits. Stock grind wise, the only thing you have to know that these engines don't really carry over to tier 8 and 9. So if you want to skip them, you can. I wouldn't recommend it though because a lot of tanks still share them and it's not that expensive anyways. It's an alright tank. I mean, the gun difference is not that huge also, so I wouldn't like power grind to the gun like you usually do on stock tanks, but the tank is not horrible. It's not the worst grind ever. Talking about the worst grind ever, here we have the T28 prototype, which is the worst grind ever, by far. It's so bad. Literally the worst grind in the game. 90mm gun on a tier 8 tank destroyer. And not any tier 8 tank destroyer. A tank destroyer that goes 18 kilometers an hour. It's really bad. Really, really, really bad. The tank is bad even with this gun, and I'll upgrade it. It's still one of the worst tanks in the game for me. But when it's stuck, it's something else. It really is. How I would grind this thing, I would probably shoot myself in the head first, or at least smack it real good with a baseball bat or something till I can't feel anything anymore. And after that, I probably would still free XP to this gun. If you haven't played the other TD line, you won't have this. You free XP to this gun, you free XP the engine, and then you slowly and painfully grind the experience, shitload of experience you need for this gun, and then you slowly and painfully grind for the T30. And then you probably are dead halfway here. You probably die here, and you don't get the T30, and I'm sorry, but I can't do anything about it. But if you are like completely retarded and crazy like I am, I actually grinded the T30 and the T28 from this tank. So that's a great feature about this tank. You can skip and hop to the other TD line with a T28 prototype, with the joy what is the T28 prototype. But in all seriousness, one of the worst tanks in the game. Highly recommend to avoid, but it's not possible to avoid if you want to get the E4. It is one of the biggest downsets to this entire line, and one of the biggest reasons why I would say that the line is not worth the grind, but that's not strictly true. That being said, I think I've said enough. Let's look at the T30 now. After you have suicided or maybe actually made it to the T30, you probably will take 4 weeks break before playing World of Tanks again. I understand that. Perfectly understandable. What's important to know about the T30 is that everything goes with this tank. You can use the 120mm and completely skip the 155. It's not the worst choice ever. I prefer and recommend the 155mm, but the 120 is also quite capable. T30 playstyle wise is a T34 with a bigger gun or better rate of fire, whichever one you prefer. It plays like a typical American heavy tank, go haul down and shoot things. Don't be too confident in your turret, because at the tier 9 tanks can actually slam through the sides of your cheeks or the cupolas and so on. So don't be too confident, but the turret can tank some damage, so that is something to note. Pretty sure that's everything there really is to say about the grind. The thing about the T30 is that if you don't plan to keep this forever, I would not recommend getting this engine. It's really expensive and it only gives you 60 horsepower, so do not recommend. But the stock engine is not that much different. So stock engine all the way through to the E4, and once you get the E4, well, we'll talk about that in a second. So here's the beast, the T110E4. What is important to note is that turret turns 90 degrees, no wait, 180 degrees, 90 degrees each side, so you need to be cautious of that fact. Let's look into the armor though before everything else. Extremely good gun mantlet, well not extremely good, but good enough gun mantlet, 254. Some gold shells will be able to slam through this. It's not spaced, there's nothing behind it. There is in parts, but most of it's just 250, which still should be good enough to bounce every shot that really gets thrown your way, unless it's a tier 10 TD or somebody spamming gold. Obvious glaring weak spot on the top. Not a very strong plate here, but it's still not bad, as you can see. The closer to the middle you get, the more flat it gets and the more shitty it gets, but it still can bounce some shots, and you want to try always keep your tank facing towards your enemy, because if you start angling this turret, then there's a lot of really bad armor zones. Upper plate, 240. 270. As you see, it's reasonable enough. I mean, this tank is quite big, so you don't really get to shoot into it. But if you do have the chance, it's not very thick actually. It's just really well angled, as you can see. So if you have the chance, you can shoot it in this kind of angle, and there's not going to be any problems. The beak, really strong. Don't try to aim at this at all. Lower plate, however, is pretty damn weak. Should be easy to pen almost regardless of what tier tank you're driving. Side armor, 76, side of the turret 150. None of this is really any threat, so if you have the side, just shoot it. Engine deck, really big and really weak, easy to pen with regardless of what tank you are driving. And so with the ass, side scraping is possible, but you can only do it in limited angles. The tracks are quite wide though, so it's not that uncommon to bounce shots with your sides. You just can't over angle it because there's not really that much armor, but it's just that the tracks are really wide. That being said, I'm pretty sure we're ready to look into some soft stats. Not even sure what should I compare this with. I mean, it doesn't really fit to compare it with the 268, but I guess since we are doing the Russian thing, then yeah, let's just do it. I'm pretty sure it's worse than the 268 in every way, and it kind of should be because it has a turret, and it's not really a TD. Maybe we should compare it with an E100. Yeah, sure, why not? E100, where are you? Let's see. E100, there you are. So, maneuver, aiming circle spread, worse than on the E100. Understandable, you have 270 penetration while the E100 has 230. It's quite a bit worse as well, so the aiming does not feel very well on this tank. You need a good crew to make this gun work properly as well. Turn resistance also worse than on the E100. Not that much worse, but it's quite a bit, but the power to weight should make up for it. The E4 is actually, if not faster, then as fast as the E100, and its speed limit is better as well. Pretty sure that's everything there is to say about the E4 though, so let's get into the replays. Here's the first game. Severogorsk playing with Zircon, and he's playing in this Yak Panzer. Before everything though, let's get one thing out of the way. E4 is not a TD, it's a heavy tank. If you treat it as a TD, if you try to camp in it, if you try to snipe with this, you're gonna hate it, you're gonna sell it, you're gonna fail in it. It's not a TD, it's a heavy tank. Trade shots, don't snipe. As simple as that. After that is out of the way, but let's look into some of the stats. So 2000 hit points, top speed limit 35, backwards 10. That's pretty bad. Actually, one of the more annoying features about the T110E4 is the backwards speed limit, which is only 10, as I just said. Horsepower per ton ratio 13.67 with 875 horsepower. It's not bad, but as you saw, the turn resistance is pretty damn horrible in this. Traverse speed 26 degrees per second. Since you have a turret, it's not that important. It's still better than like in the E100 at least. View range 400 combined with coded optics gives you maximum view range, which is really nice for a TD with a turret. Turret's worse, 18 degrees per second. That is slightly worse than on the E100, but the combined turret and hull traverse is still slightly better than on the E100. It's possible to flank this thing with a medium, especially with the light tanks, but it's not that easy as people think it is. When we start talking about the gun, rate of fire 3.08 rounds per minute, slightly faster than on the E100, way slower than on any other tier 10 TD, really, apart from the Foch 155 and the TDs that hit for different alpha, obviously. Damage per minute 2310 with the stock values. It's not horrible, but it's pretty bad. I mean, it's E100 DPM, there's not really to say about it. But when your tank hits for 750 and it has a turret, it's not really about the DPM. It's about sending the message, let's put it that way. Gun depression -6 of a round, well, the 180 degrees around, and aiming time 2.9 seconds, accuracy 0.37. The aiming stats are really bad on this, the soft stats are really bad, so the gun feels rather unresponsive if you don't have the crew. Crew skills obviously gonna have everything that helps aiming for sure. But that's pretty much everything I had to say about the stats, so let's pay some more attention to the game. So first of all, there don't seem to be a lot of tanks on this side. That was lucky. There's not a lot of tanks on this side, so I decided to play extremely aggressive, take a aggressive position where I have cover where I can reload behind, which is extremely important when you have a TD like this. Cover to reload behind is the top priority. You want to always be looking for. You always want to take positions where you can fall back, reload, and come back out again without taking too much time and actually relocating. So after almost 2k damage done and 400 taken, I'm pushing forwards just to do some more. Need to be slightly cautious here, and I noticed the E100 that I have a shot on. I take a shot where I could have aimed it slightly longer, but I had to take the shot there because he was running forwards and he would have drawn out of my shot. And since I had to lead the shot and the shell is on the E4 is not the fastest one ever, I took the shot there and then, and it hit. So now I kind of miss out on the chance to shoot that Lorraine, but I don't really want to stick around here for too long. I don't want our team to get wrecked on their flank, even though I don't think there's much I can do to help them. Anyways, now this position is not great because there's two French autoloaders right in front of me. I actually tunneled there and didn't spot the Batshot in time, but he decided to not shoot me more, and I was lucky as hell, can't deny it. But if you looked at it closer, I mean, I had to hit him. Even though I snapshotted, the aim was right at him, and the chance of me hitting it was quite high, so it was just good reaction from me, I guess, and some luck as always required in both tanks, but it wasn't all luck, obviously. So after that, it's 3.6k damage. Damage in this tank builds up really fast, even though the DPM is shit. The alpha damage just makes up for it, and I mean, now I'm out of the E4's comfort zone. I am driving around and looking for targets, which is not really what you want to do, and ignoring French autoloaders is also quite risky, and I am getting shot. I got tracked, I repaired it instantly, and he didn't retrack me, but the Batshot goes in for the kill anyways. Quite ballsy to rely on your team to actually do anything and go in front of a French autoloader, but it worked alright for me, so 4.4k damage, and let's move on. So now I'm probably gonna go for the E4 and leave those guys for the last, but no, there's an Eastern E5, and what do you do when the E4 is aiming at you? You show your side to him. Good job, Eastern E5, well done, thank you. After that though, I think now is the time to shoot that ST1, hopefully it doesn't lose any more health, so I can take it all, and he did. I'm too greedy, I guess. Gonna aim roughly enough to hit him. I mean, even if I missed, it didn't really matter that much. Would not have gotten the kill, obviously, but hey, whatever. Now we have 3 tanks left there. The Batshot probably is gonna fuck off, and if he isn't, then I'm probably gonna be able to pick the kill up on him quite easily. 57 heavy is a one-shot for me, so he's most likely gonna be my next target. And there's the Batshot. If you want to know what lucky is, this is what lucky is. I just took a shot because why not? I mean, if I miss it, I'm way more than in cover from the rest of his team. So even if I miss the shot, I will have the time to reload before engaging anything else anyways. So I might as well go for it. And when it counts, I will aim against the 57 heavy. You want to aim, you don't want to miss the shot when you're in front of an autoloader. And I took enough time there to aim, and now I'm gonna go for the E75. As a reminder, I have a really good crew in this, so all the aiming skills that are possible to get I have, because they are extremely important. And how to not play a bad shot 101 provided by that bad shot. You rush an E75, you shoot him in the front, you pen 1 out of what, 4, 5 shots? Well played, well played. Gonna climb up here and pick up this kill as well. The bad shot almost got killed by that E75. E75 has the stock gun, so I might get shot, but no, I get to shoot him before he shoots me. So 7 kills, 7.1k damage. I'm pretty sure there was no blind damage in this game done by me, but just a measure of security, let's get shot on by the artillery, and this is pretty much my game. I'm not going to kill anything else in this game, so let's get to the end plates. So here's the end plate. Ace tanker, shitload of tokens, 1999 experience, top gun, high caliber, 7138 damage done, 303 assisted. Can't deny I was lucky with some shots, but I can't really say that I would have done anything differently if I had a choice to redo that entire game. 1333 base experience and 7 kills. Took some risky plays, ignoring the French autoloaders and shit, but it paid off in the end, and that's pretty much it with that game, so let's move on to the second one. So the second game, playing on Mines Encounter, playing solo this time. What is important to know before everything starts, I'm pretty sure Mines is one of the most unbalanced maps in the game, favoring our spawn quite heavily, Encounter or not. Encounter is actually quite tougher because of the cap circle, but this spawn usually wins in my opinion, and if you play from this spawn, if you play this map right, you can't really lose, and our main batchets are playing it right, so I don't think we even stood a chance to lose this one. So first shot, that was around 60 to 70% chance to hit that one, so not super lucky as you might think. I hear this a lot when people say, oh, you hit all your random shots. I mean, if you look at that slow motion, if you actually take your time to look at that again and rewind the fragment, you will see that I had quite a good chance of hitting that bad shot, and it wasn't like, oh, I just shot on the move because I'm silly. It was, the tank is not that slow to miss shots on the move, and now they're actually giving me some more shots, so let's shoot the 100. And this is pretty much the T110E4 101. Trade shots with medium to close range. This is actually close range, with tanks that are either looking somewhere else or tanks that are not auto-loading. I mean, I'm not gonna go out there and trade with a 50B, but if he wants to waste his entire magazine tracking me, then he can do that any time of the day. I'm gonna easily go out and shoot the 100 again now. Now I'm actually gonna peek properly, but this is not a good shot. I mean, I could have aimed at this turret and hoped for pen, but I'm glad I didn't, since the RD shell lands right next to me. As we saw, the E4 reloads slightly faster than the E100, so I have the reload on him, but I really don't want to sit there because there might be some campers in the back anyways. So one thing I forgot to mention in the first game is that this thing has a lot of penetration, 295 to be exact. That is enough to pen almost everything you're gonna be ever shooting at, especially a 50B. And I don't even know why he's trading these trades, and I mean, I'm fine to take these trades every time of the day. I mean, this is how you play the E4. You trade with tanks that hit for 400, and they might bounce, they might hit. If they pen, you're not very happy, but if they don't pen, you're very happy. And I'm very happy now. I'm 1400 free damage on a 50B. I'll take that every time of the day. And now there's some trouble behind me. The T-54 actually is playing well for what he is and where he is. And he's actually retreating instead of dying and leaving me alone against all of this shit. And now I'm being shot by the Leopard PTA, which is not the biggest issue ever, since, again, he does 400 damage, I do 750, so I'm not really in the worst shape ever. And now I need to help this T-54. The WZ is playing really aggressively, and I just need to make sure that I don't miss, so the T-54 can finish him off. And nice shot right into the ass should do it. And there we go. Just building up the damage, not really taking any damage in return, so pretty much the T110E4, you sit in the middle of the map and you just shoot people that are willing to trade with you, and they don't really trade very well. The E100, by the way, had the stock gun, if you didn't notice. Quite easily can tell it by the stock barrel, and that's your blind shot. Just, I decided since I'm loaded, since I'm looking that way, it's gonna take me like 20 seconds to turn around anyway, so I might as well fire there and hope that I get the kill, and I did, so can't really complain. And now back to my heavy tank friends that probably have forgotten about me already. And no, the E100 is still really sad about me shooting him earlier. I'm gonna go for the flat turret part, and this is unlucky. This is an extremely low penetration roll. That turret does not have enough armor to bounce this shot, especially if the enemy is not angling it at all, and he isn't. So I'm gonna keep trading like this since he isn't angling his turret for shit. He just fired anyway, so just aim right in the flat part, and even though I could have gotten unlucky there and I should have probably aimed more, I got the penetration, the turret, which is what I was going for, and I'm going to do it again. I mean, trading with that is just what I'm looking for here. I mean, probably the worst outcome that could happen here is if he tracks me and MRX me, and that's exactly what happens, because I knew that it will happen. I repair my MRX, obviously, he's not going to reload fast enough to perma track me, but I realized that I cannot engage him like that. If he does that again, then I'm going to be quite sad for the rest of the game, so I'm just going to keep my tank a bit lower so he can shoot my track and MRX at the same time. Here I take a bit of a snapshot, because I didn't really want to shoot him to shoot me back, but he bounced anyways, so it wasn't that important in the end. Can pick up a kill on the Leopard PTA here as well. Waiting till I'm reloading and shot slightly on the move, but again, this tank is so slow that the shots on the move are not actually that impressive when they hit. There's like, again, like 60 to 70% chance to hit that shot, so I took my chances. And here, about to make my first big mistake in this game. The enemy TD fired. I am going to make a really bad shot here to begin with. So I had to make a shot here because the actor would be going away. But now, obvious mistake, you just fired and then you cross a fucking line of sight of a TD that you could have one-shotted there. And I'm gonna take this damage, and this is gonna be the mistake that will cost me quite a bit of damage later on. But yeah, you don't do that. You don't cross middle of the open when you're not loaded. It's just such a bad practice. And now the Death Star fires, he misses, and I'm pretty sure I can pick up this kill on the Foch 155. He reacts to me way too late, and he managed to get the Death Star, and he pays the price for it. Pretty bad play by me to let myself get shot in the side like that, but nothing really to say anymore. It's just a bad play. Should never do that. Should never cross open ground when you're not loaded and ready to shoot in front of a tier 10 TD on 200 health, I'll add. But regardless, just pushing on. I just want to get some more damage done before the game ends, and the only way to do it is just driving forwards and shooting things. So hopefully I can get sneak behind this Yak Tagger and shoot him. The Type 61 hasn't been spotted the entire game, so really advanced medium tank player, as we can all see. And this is probably going to be the end of me. The Yak Tagger, if the Death Star can't shoot him, I'm going to rip him pepperonis now. Some guns you do not expect to bounce. Yak Tagger, one of them, never going to bounce that. He could have aimed at like any flat part of my armor apart from the gun mantlet, and I would have died. So it's not really surprising that I do die, and this game pretty much ends here for me. So here's the second end plate. Ace Tanker, as always, 3608 experience with the double, high caliber medal as well. 8052 damage done, so some, well, obviously the T54E1 kill gave us that, and 4 kills, 1203 basic speed, less basic speed, quite a bit less actually. Just because I didn't pick up 7 kills, and I was sniping a bit more than in the last game, and probably shooting some lower tier targets as well. But regardless, a decent game. As I said before the game started though, mines on that spawn is way superior than mines on the other spawn, and I don't think you can pull off a game like that being aggressive on the other spawn ever. But yeah, regardless, I'm gonna take what they give it to me. Let's get to the verdict though. So now we come to the most important question. Is the T110E4 worth the grind? Well, fuck yeah it is. Even though the T28 prototype is one of the shittiest grinds in the game, the rest of the line is rather good, if not even really good. And the T110E4, one of my favorite tank destroyers at tier 10. As long as you don't treat it as a tank destroyer, keep it medium range at worst, and trade shots, you're gonna do well in this tank. Definitely one of my favorites. It's like a heavy tank with a huge fucking cannon. It's what it is, really, and you should treat it that way, and it's gonna be great for you. Really underrated. Don't see why people don't like it. One of my favorites. So nothing really much to say about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you on the next one. Today we're looking at the game in the Yak Panther 2 on Eden Village. So for those of you who doesn't know my thoughts on the Yak Panther 2, so in my opinion, one of the best tier 8 tank destroyers.